Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Thrifty Mama Scraps. I am continuing my series called A Look Back at My December Daily Albums. This is year 2010. And this album I made using mostly Cocoa Daisy products. I belonged to their kit club back in 2010 and 2011. So this chipboard album came from Cocoa Daisy, and so did these fuzzy thickers. And this particular year, I titled our album Our Family Christmas 2010. On the inside cover of this album, I decided to take Ellie Edwards' advice and write a reason why I like to create December daily albums. And here I wrote, I love that I am able to make these albums for my family each year. Thank you, Ellie Edwards, for the great idea and for the inspiration you give me in my hobby. So there's a picture of me in 2010. Here, my husband and my son is putting up our artificial tree. In the past several years, we've gotten a real tree, but back then we were using an artificial white tree. I had to be in my bonnet at one point in time that I wanted a white Christmas tree, and decided after a few years that I didn't care for it so much. So it must have been a trendy thing. Here I am using a little cluster, which kind of makes me laugh because back then clustering wasn't a thing. It wasn't a big thing in scrapbooking. So I guess the trend was just starting to happen. I probably saw it somewhere and picked it up and decided to try it. Imitation is how I think most scrapbookers started. They see somebody else and they like it, and so then they try it themselves, and then it becomes a trend. And here I'm making Christmas presents. I also crochet as well as cross stitch and sew, and probably nearly every craft that is under the sun I enjoy. But scrapbooking and paper crafting are my favorite. Here's our cookie exchange homeschooling group. The moms got together and we did a cookie exchange. That was fun. I don't know where this paper came from, but I have a lot of it. I think I only have scraps of certain pieces left, but they had die cut numbers and die cut letters, and I remember when it came out, I think that I bought one of each sheet because I just thought it was so cool. It doesn't hold up very well. That's the only thing that I didn't care too much for it. So, but I still like the look of it. I think it would be really cool nowadays to put the different colored pattern paper behind it. I might, if I find a piece of my scrap stash, I want to try that because I think that would look really cool since die cut paper is really trendy right now. Here I made my boys each a ornament. That's kind of an annual tradition. And here we are at the Nutcracker again. This is something that I really enjoy doing. Back then, I would buy a music book at a thrift store, or even a novel at a thrift store, and I would cut it up. I would trace my old stencils on it, and then I would ink the edges, and I still like that look. I still think it's a neat look. I haven't used it in a while, but I might go back to it. Here's more at the Nutcracker. And then at the ice skating rink with our homeschool group. These, I think, are creative memory stickers. And there's my littlest guy. And here's some transparencies. I love intermixing different shapes and sizes and transparencies and different things into my December daily. I like the interactive look of it, and I think it's just a more fun book to look at. Kind of like a kid's pop-up book. Those are always the most fun for kids to look at. And here's another one of those Martha Stewart punch pages that I like doing so much. I still use that. Here's some more music page that I inked, and I'm not sure if I used a die cut ruler or what with it. I like intermixing punches and different layered elements. I still do that in my scrapbooking. And here's my Every Time a Bell Rings, an Angel Gets Its Wings from It's a Wonderful Life. Of course, another transparency page. And here's a half page with punches. I'm going to try to make this a little bit shorter and go a little bit faster. For Snow Day, of course. A list of books that are our favorites. Long time ago, I used to wrap up the kids' books, and then they could unwrap one every day at Christmas time, and then we'd read it. I did that for several years. This particular year, I don't think that I did it. I think I just put it in a bin, and we read various books throughout the season. Here's a picture of my oldest son and his friend's child. This is a train punch that I have from Martha Stewart. It's a border punch, and my kids were really into trains for many, many years. Thomas and everything, and so I bought this edge punch, and I still like it. I still think it's Christmassy to use it. And it's a half page. Like those half pages. And here's another transparency page. My son and I had made nutcrackers out of toilet paper rolls. He was 6. He had a lot of fun playing with those nutcrackers that year. I think for consecutive years. I think I finally threw him out when he was probably about 10. This is from Cocoa Daisy. This border. I remember that. And smaller pages and larger pages. And I made our tree skirt that year. We still use this tree skirt. This year, my youngest son is 13 now, and he was 6 here, and this year I had him try it on, and he's 6'2" now, and he's 13, and he, of course, it's a lot smaller than when he was 6, but it's cute. I took a picture so I could scrapbook them together. That's one of my favorite things to do, is to take old pictures and recent pictures and put them on the same page. That is so fun to compare and contrast, and different ages, and maybe, their dad and them, and how much they look alike, or how much I look like them, or they look like me, or different things where we're doing the same thing. I love pages like that. So fun. It's my son's 18th birthday. He got a computer that year. My oldest son. And he's 25 now. There's a pocket page before pocket pages were big. Every year on my children's birthday, I always write them a letter, and then I put it in a hidden envelope for them to read later on. They can read it on their own time, or, you know, I like writing little letters that are private for the kids. And I don't care if the other kids read it, but it's just it's just a private family thing, you know. Just me telling them how I think that they're growing up and becoming a wonderful person, and things that I, you know, am so proud of them, of, you know, the things that they did that year, things that, the way that they're growing into adulthood. And there's another one of those pages, the die cut pages. There's another half sheet with a Martha Stewart punch. That's my 8-year-old sitting on Santa's lap. And there they both are, playing with the Santa hat. There's my youngest on Santa's lap. And this is an envelope. I love putting envelopes in December dailies. These are old traditions that we use, and I usually stick like recipes in here that are tried and true recipes from years gone by. And then here is new recipes. These are just new recipes that we tried that year and have become favorites. So they've become new traditions. And then when I have these out in a basket at Christmas time, a lot of times I will take, you know, if I'm like, oh, I'm going to make that, you know, and I'll just take the recipe out of here and then stick it back in when I'm done with it. This was a new tradition that year that was so fun. We made Who bread, which Who actually stands for wheat, honey, and oat bread. And then Grinch soup, which is actually split pea soup. And my kids would not eat split pea soup at all. But when they found out it was Grinch soup, and then we watched the Grinch movie after, they ate it all up. And it was kind of a funny way that I got them to eat split pea soup. Here's another clustering that I did before clustering was a thing. And I actually like this look. This is another one of those music pages. What I did was I took a snowflake stencil, traced it on the back, and then cut it out and inked it. And then I cut this out of Cocoa Daisy paper. And then this is probably a Creative Memories circle punch. And then a star stencil. So I really like that look. I'd do that again. And here's another page. And this flowers with a button inside. And a shaker pocket. I made a gingerbread house. And it looks like they're playing bingo there. And my littlest son lost his 2 front teeth. Christmas Eve appetizers. More Christmas Eve appetizers. Another one of those die cut alphabet sheets, it looks like this time. Christmas morning, eating cinnamon rolls. More Christmas morning. And my littlest son with his nutcracker. He still gets nutcrackers for Christmas. And extended family. And then the very last page is recipes I want to try next year, ideas for next year, things like that. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it inspiring and helpful, and I will see you tomorrow with another episode of a look back at my December daily albums. Thank you so much. Bye.